Hey everyone, let's talk about the Minnesota Wild quickly. Also talking about the Avalanche in the Central Division. It's getting ridiculous. The Avs are going on a run that we haven't seen in a while and we don't see very often. So we're going to talk about that quickly. But also, any center of the Wild target, the Avs are in a need for that as well, I would say. Pretty similarly. Like if the Wild looked at a guy like Nazem Kadri in Calgary, of course I think the Avs would look at a reunion there potentially. Or Ryan O'Reilly more specifically. I think the Avs would check in there, but there's so many other potential targets for both those teams to get a center. And there are a lot of teams out there that want a center, a second-line center, so they're going to have to pony up quite the package. So this one is a proposed one from MN Ice Bets, looking at Ryan O'Reilly going to the Wild for a first-round picks, Charlie Stramel and Ryan Hartman. It's kind of in response to Michael Russo's article in terms of which players should each team pursue after the holiday freeze. Go check out that article. But this is another one from a fan like David Spacek and a first-round pick, the same first-round pick, going to the Predators for Ryan O'Reilly. I think the Predators are going to at least want, I would say, an A to B level prospect, a first-round pick, and potentially a roster player. And maybe that's where Ryan Hartman comes into play. But there's definitely different options, like the Trennan option, reunion there. But I do think the first-round pick and prospect is the bare minimum for Ryan O'Reilly. They're not going to take any less than that. But if we do an update on the standings right now, the Avs are just running away with it. 2 regulation losses is insane, is ridiculous. So the fact that we're at this point of the season, they've played almost 40 games, and they only have 2 regulation losses. Unbelievable. So I look at them as just kind of that unicorn right now. And then I look at the Dallas Stars and the Minnesota Wild as wagons as well, but different kind of wagons. Obviously, you look at the Wild, 23, 10, and 6 for 52 points. They seem like they'd have to go on an absolute steep downhill to miss the playoffs. And I think they are a center away from being one of the top 3 Stanley Cup contenders in the league. I confidently believe that. I think they have everything. They have a goaltending duo that has a high ceiling. They have a really good defense structure now. Quinn Hughes has obviously put that defense core into the top 10 category in the National Hockey League. And I think they have a very deep forward core with very skilled players. You talk about Kirill Kaprizov, Matt Boldy, 2 stars in this league. If you can add a center to complement that, I think ideally, to get them to that number 1 or number 1-2 punch spot with the Avs, they would need a more elite center. Because right now it's Eriksson Ek and Urhoff, who are really good players, but they're not in that elite to generational category like a Nathan MacKinnon, what the Colorado Avalanche have. So if they could add a Ryan O'Reilly, I think this is a good idea of a mock lineup where you have O'Reilly maybe with Kaprizov and Zuccarello. You have Eriksson Ek with Johansson and Boldy, Tarasenko, Urhoff, Trennan, and then your fourth line. That fourth line is potentially the best in the league. And then that defense core, pretty solid. And then your goaltending, no secret there. So Wallstedt and Gustafsson, you have a good feature there as well. So I'm curious in your guys' thoughts how high you see the Minnesota Wild. I think it depends on the center they acquire, but they do need to acquire a center. Like sliding Nico Sturm to the fourth line spot and then having your option for the 1-2-3, I think is very important for the Wild in a playoff push. And clearly Bill Guerin has his big boy pants on because he's ready to go all in with this team after that Quinn Hughes trade. So, again, taking a peek at that standings, the next one after that is Utah with 39 points. So you have the Minnesota Wild at 52, the Dallas Stars at 57, Avs at 63, of course. But that 52 to 39 gap, the Wild would have to take a massive, massive downhill fall off to lose that spot and lose kind of this, I would say, representation of what they are right now, which is a buyer, which is a contender, and they could be a lot more if they get a second line center. So just some other stuff, guys, around the league. Simone Benoit is a conversation for the Toronto Maple Leafs right now. For any team that's looking for a solid bottom pair guy, it's going to be similar for Montreal as well. When Caden Gooley comes back, Jaden Struble could be a guy there. So Benoit, Struble, there's a lot of other guys out there. If you're looking for a bottom pair defenseman, that's kind of the market, mid-round pick. And then just for Leaf fans watching this video, Guelph Storm have acquired Maple Leafs prospect Tyler Hopkins. So Leafs prospect going to the Guelph Storm for potentially a Memorial Cup run next year. So I figured I'd include this in this video. I don't do much OHL stuff for videos, but I think this is relevant for Leaf fans to follow because Hopkins, the Leafs draft pick from this past draft, going to Guelph, and it's going to be a potential Memorial Cup push while they're hosting next year. So let me know your guys' thoughts on the Wild trade proposal and the conversation around Ryan O'Reilly and what you think about the Wild. Are they closer to the Avs than the standings put out there, or is Dallas that next team? I would say the Central has the best top 3 by far in the league. So thoughts, subscribe, comment, like, notification bell. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.